and
Teal.
You know what it is, man. You're locked into Third and Teal where they keep it real. And if you don't know, you're going to learn today. Third and Teal, baby, and I'm out. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Welcome into Third and Teal, everybody. My name's Curtis. I'm filling in for Isaiah, who is on his honeymoon in the great smoky state of Tennessee. So I'll do my best to put on my Jaguars hat, rock some teal, and pretend that I am a member of the Duval County. The normal faces here, obviously. Trevor holding it down over there, looking like everybody's every young mother's wet dream is basically what we're looking at over here. And then down here at the bottom, we got Eric, aka Mr. Talk, aka Mr. Smooth Talk. And that's really just a nickname that your mom calls him, is Mr. Smooth Talking.
I saw it firsthand.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Stop it, Trevor.
I witnessed it. I saw it.
The reason. But welcome into episode 72. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different stuff, talking over mock drafts, latest news for the Jags, and some other questions that I had. So, gentlemen, how we doing? What's going on down there in Duval?
Well, here in Duval, explicitly, obviously the players went in this week. First week back, we got the 2-week head start, obviously having the new head coach and all that stuff. It's like it always is this time of year. Optimism swirls back in. It doesn't matter what kind of season your team had prior. Here comes the hype, and everyone's excited again, and we're all getting ready for the draft. I know that some of the people I'm plugged in with here locally that obviously are plugged in there, they're optimistic, but they're putting a cap on it, just like I think we all should, because it can go either way. We're with a first-time head coach. It's not like we got a new head coach, but we've seen what he looks like as a coach, as a full head coach. Like we're just going in a whole new thing. But I'd say overall, we've got to be good. It's sunny here. We've still got a football team, and we're on the right side of the dirt. So,
Damn Skippy.
I told somebody that last night at the bowling alley. Good job. Good job. Hey, I'm doing good, man. And once again, congratulations to our man, Isaiah.
Amen. Shout out.
And out there in the mountains.
Somebody had to take him off the market.
I guess. Yeah. But good stuff for him. Yeah, man, we're ready to talk 18 days before the draft. We're ready to get busy. Talk mock drafts, talk team issues, and all kind of good stuff, man. Once we get to talking, we just get to talking. We get to going because that's how we roll here on 30.
I swear, every time we say we got to keep, like, the fans know this already because we've kind of told them about it. But like, there will be times we come in and right before the show, we're like, all right, one of us has something to do early in the morning or something we got to get to right after the show. Let's keep it tailored in, like, you know what I mean? Let's put a cap on it. Here we are, an hour and 20 minutes later, and we're still going.
Yeah.
Still going.
That's the nature of the beast. When you're talking with friends, you just get caught up doing everything.
Amen.
But, that it makes a good show. It makes for a great show, and that's what we're here for. So, look, let's start off with some of the lighter stuff. There's been some number changes, and I want to ask you guys specifically, what numbers have changed? Do we like it? Do we love it? Do we hate it? What's up?
Well, before you get started, Trevor, only thing
I was just about to say I'm gonna pass this to Eric because
before you get started, Gabe Davis should have kept the number 0, okay? Because that's just by how many important passes he caught last year. 0. He dropping touchdown passes and carrying on, catching with his body. So he should have kept that number. Yeah, he should have kept it. But as far as the number changes, man, I you know what? I don't even care. I honestly, I don't care. Number, it was a good idea, but now that you look at it, when they changed it, They should just left that shit alone, man. Excuse my language, but they should have just left it alone. If every year you're gonna be changing numbers and yeah, it's becoming more of a headache. Just keep your damn number and play the game. That's what you get paid to do. Now I understand if some big time free agent come in and that's been his number for 13, 14 years. Yeah, whatever you got to do, give the man his number. But
Right.
just to be changing numbers just because that's the number you want this year, nah. I'm not with that. So I guess it's good for the publicity and stuff, but overall, it makes no sense. Really, it really doesn't to me.
It's also a net win for the franchise, because every year, in theory, you could have the same player changing numbers, and that means you're going to buy a new jersey.
A New
That
Jersey.
part,
Yep.
that part too, man. I mean, really,
Yeah.
really, that
Yeah.
part too. Look, I'm saving up to buy eggs. I ain't got time to be buying a New Jersey every year. I'm sorry.
Put a down payment on
Saving to buy the eggs, man. Hey, you'll have that.
Yeah, so it's all good.
Looking at these numbers, so obviously we got the free agent numbers. Those are to be expected. All right.
You're right.
So obviously Jordan Lewis is wearing 2. They told us that. Diami Brown is wearing 5, which I think the only reason that's significant to people is because that was Andre Cisco. Everybody
Right.
should know now. That's now a receiver number. Nick Mullins, he took 12. Eric Murray took 29. And Hunter Long took 84. Johnny Munt took 81. All insignificant there. Gabe Davis moved back to his number 13 with the vacancy of Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
And Devin Lloyd moved to 0. I think that's the most disgusting shit I've ever seen. I think it should be treated kind of like Stick City at Penn State. You should have to have that dog, man. You should not just be able to throw 0 on and just run around. Like, you got to be him. I think you got to.
From Pee Wee football on up, that was the number 0 stood for. You the dog, you the man when you put that number on.
Yeah.
And he's not.
And
right.
honestly, they just replayed the game the other night. Me and Eric, I believe now, me and Eric both watched it last night. The Bears and the Jags game was a replay from this past season. And it just reminded me all over again why not only did I not want him to take 0, I didn't want him to take a fucking roster spot. Terrible.
Hey, the bad part about that whole thing? He was the green dot that game. I didn't realize that when we watched it, the film during the season, but when I watched it last night, he was the green dot again. I was like,
yeah, and that's what I was trying to say the whole time. Like when we reviewed this, to catch you up, Curtis, because I know you weren't there for that. We reviewed this, and this is when we realized that something was wrong with the scheme in the Chicago game. That's when we really realized that something was wrong with the defensive scheme. We thought the first couple games, the defense was locked in. Like Miami, they were locked in. They got burned on 2 crossers. It sucks. Okay, but that's a fast-running offense. You can chalk that up. Next game, bounce back. The defense is fucking on it. The offense just can't get it together. Then the offense finds its legs, or tries to, and Gabe Davis drops 3 fucking touchdowns. But the defense just falls flat on its face. And we're like, what is going on? And we're seeing like a mixture. It's like a hybrid zone man scheme at the same time. We're seeing all kinds of like cross-field assignments trying to create misdirection, just like this very complex thing. It was like it's almost so complex that it's dumb. And then it just became dumb because the difference between complexity and stupidity is whether it worked or not. That's the only difference. You were treading a very fine line.
It's funny you say that because they had the Jaguars and the Raiders on this afternoon, and I watched that, and it was a play, the same play that Buffalo got us on with this little screen pass to the outside where the linebacker and the corner run into each other. The same freaking thing happened again during that game. I said, man, come on now. And the Raider game was later in the season, but we still were making the same mistakes. So
nothing changed.
That's the question I was going to bring. Is it the personnel or was it the scheme? So, and I think that's why they decided not to pick up that option on Lloyd this year.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Was that stuff like that is why they don't have plans to pick up his 5th year option.
Yes, he's basically on a prove it year right now. Either he's got to do it or he's out of there.
Yeah, well, he has to be. He has to be. I mean, how many more years are we going to say he's coming into it?
Yeah, you're right.
You're either going to come into it or you're not. And I know, like I said, to kind of keep you up to date with that too, Curtis, like it literally got so bad with some of the plays where you're just looking at it like, what the hell was even the idea there? Like, let's just say that it all went according to plan. What was that supposed to accomplish?
Yeah.
And then you watch players like Devin Lloyd, and it's like, you clearly had no idea what the hell was going on. That just shows us how valuable that Foye has been to us the whole time.
Yes.
Because that shows you just what having a quarterback of the defense is and how important it is. Because that just all it did was made it very clear that he was the one pulling the strings. And then you watch him, and then you watch people like Monteric Brown getting matched up on fucking like wide receiver ones on people's ones and even twos. He should have never been on twos. Yeah. He's at best to cover a third. At best. He has no business being with the top two. And almost every time he was, because for some reason we can't figure out either, Tyson Campbell doesn't cross the field.
He doesn't.
He does not cross the field.
Non-Asamoah role.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, he will stay on that field. Even if his assignment moves across the field, he passes off assignments and then switches back and shades over. He does not cross the field.
At all. Which is an interesting concept in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that raises a big question mark about him. Is he just that supposed to be that one-sided lockdown, or can he actually switch over, be versatile and switch to the other side and still be the so-called lockdown? I guess we'll find out this year.
And I'm going to say something that I think is going to be kind of a hotter take for some people.
What's that?
And if Isaiah were here, he would lose his shit. And I'm going to tell him that I said this also because
I'm sure he's listening.
we all love. Oh, dude, that's trash. Get out of here. I love that. Shout out to those guys, man.
Yeah.
But
at
anyway,
least they're showing up now.
they picked up Trayvon Walker's 5th year option.
Right.
I think the reason that they didn't sign him like to an extension when they did that, because we have the cap space. I'm just going to say that first and foremost. We have the cap space to do it. I think the reason they're not is because of kind of what we've been talking about. Remember, like last year, I was hammering home the good but not good enough. Mm-hmm. Like you're good, but it ain't good enough. I think that's where we're following with Trayvon last year, and I think they're feeling the same way. It's like he's a good enough player to extend, at least pick up the year we can get him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like I think the hope is maybe Campanelli can take him to the level that we want him to be at to pay him,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I know, man. I know. And honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I should turn the camera sometime because I could do the show facing that way and have the same kind of backdrop that way. And I could turn the camera facing that way and have the same backdrop that way. Like,
yeah. But you're absolutely right. And we talked about this, just the scheme of the way they rushed last year. I think, kind of limited what Trayvon, because he was getting there at 65% of the time. Let's go 65% of the time. He was getting there.
But
because of the angle that they were taking,
they're playing 5 yards off the end. Yeah.
So,
and he would get there too, and he just couldn't finish the play.
Right. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I was cutting out. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to say, because I don't know what it was last year, but if you watch the games, I don't know what it is. They did a lot of stumbling and slipping, and especially Eric Armstead. I don't know whether they had the wrong type of cleats on all season, or their feet just grew bigger over the off season, or what.
Yeah, he did. He fell over his feet a lot.
They could not stay up on their feet. Even when they got to the quarterback, they were stumbling and bumbling, and you're like, no, come on, man. Come on now.
Come on, Curtis. He's trying to take your tank, dog. You got it.
So, But it's another thing I watched. I saw too as I was watching these games. We need some speed at linebacker, man. We really do. We need some
Yeah.
coverage linebackers. Our linebackers cannot cover at all. They suck. Now, once again, was that scheme or is that the individual players?
Ooh, spicy.
Oh, so it
I am a modest man. Oh.
You can
so
find that on onlyjags.com.
so
Amen, brethren.
hopefully
Something's got to keep the lights on around here.
hopefully in the later rounds we may be able to find a decent coverage linebacker. But that is one thing that really stood out as I rewatched the games last night and today. Our linebackers are slow against the pass now. Now, as far as the run, they own it. They are on it. But when it comes to pass, especially against multifaceted tight ends, they suck.
I
They
think
really suck.
I think that's a like a double-edged sword type of issue. That's not a mainstream one thing identified is the problem, because I think our scheme was a lot of the problem with that. There was too much passing off. They were just trying to do too damn much. You're just doing too much. You're doing too much. And but I will say I do agree. There's just times where they're just too damn slow. And I'm not talking about speed like running slow. They're mentally too fucking slow.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not on. They're just not on it. They're not reading what's happening.
Yeah.
As I like
which
to
I
say,
think
they're thinking too much. They're not
right.
being instinctive. They're thinking too much.
Which I think is a good segue into something Curtis was talking about earlier, is like ways to win and lose the draft. There's a linebacker. He's coming from Alabama.
Right.
Jahad Campbell is a monster.
Yeah.
That guy is a fucking freak. If I've said this once and I'll say it again, I think picking at 5 is no man's land for us. I do. I feel like, honest to God, it's no man's land for us, because I feel like Travis Hunter would hurt us more than help us. I feel that way simply because we need both of the positions he plays, but we need them full time.
Right.
And I don't think we should spend a top 5 pick on a part-timer on each side. Mason Graham. He is a game changer. I believe that. I believe he's going to change the game for whoever he plays for, but I don't think he's going to be a Jalen Carter. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think he's going to be a Jalen Carter. You know what I mean? Jalen Carter is a different type of animal right there. That's the only type of player I'm taking at a DT spot at 5. Abdul Carter is more than likely never going to make it to us.
Yeah.
Just being real, he's not going to fall that far. I don't believe he will. I think he's going to Cleveland, if no ifs, ands, or buts. Not for certain, but it's very possible. I think they're going to do it. And then you look at it. If we traded down, where do we trade down to? We're not going to trade immediately back because they know we're not taking a quarterback anyway.
Mm-hmm.
No, but there's no reason.
That may actually work in our favor, though. Depends on how the first four picks. Well, say the first 3 picks go.
The only way that works in our favor is if they know that we're considering trading the pick to someone who needs a quarterback.
Well, come on now. Let's be honest. You already know the call's gonna start coming if they haven't already. You know,
I think they should.
Yeah,
I think they should. I think that honestly, we trade back maybe mid-teens, early 20s. I know it's kind of a little bit of an early pick on him, but I'd take Jahad there. Yeah. If you don't take a Will Campbell, that's my hot pick though at 5 is Will Campbell. Fuck it. I know it's not traditional.
Oh Lord, we popular tonight. We got Kingmaker Sports in the house too. Oh,
what's up, buddy?
What's going on?
Oh yeah,
but
that's how you know hot show.
No, I know that's not the typical way to draft, man. But I think I have faith that Gladstone's not your typical guy. Yeah. The more you watch on him, the more you listen to him speak. That is not. There's something different about that guy. Like, I'm not saying that it means he's going to be like the greatest of all time. I'm not saying that it's different in a good way. We don't know yet, but something's different for sure.
You know, he's a different guy. I agree with you, Trevor. You know, when we first started, you know, I was like, no, man, no matter what, we take T-Mac. But the more I research and the more I look, I'm like, it may be better for us to trade out of 5 and drop down to maybe 11, 12. and get, let's see, who may be available.
Well,
Campbell may be.
T-Mac only ran a 4.45.
You know what? I'm not even worried about that. But what I'm worried about is you talk to coaches and you say, well, I really don't study film. No, we didn't have that before. We don't need that.
Yeah, I was just about to say. That's what I was about to say. You run a 4.45. You're big, and Isaiah's made the point. I have a friend at school that's made the point multiple times. It's just they are really 50-50 whether those style receivers pan out. Yeah. They're either going to come out and be the greatest thing to touch the field, or they're just going to be a big distraction for about 5 games, and it's going to do nothing else. And the fact that you're not watching tape.
I'm going to give you a name right now, and if we can get him in the 4th or 5th round, it'll be a steal. It's this kid out of Baylor named Monterey Baldwin. Okay. The kid is fast, 4.4. I mean, catches the ball, contested or not, always open. Now, he's a little small, so he'd probably be working in the slot, but he's a steal for anybody who grabs him, I do believe, in the draft. Because me being in Texas, I watch a lot of Baylor football because that's who I root for in Texas. And, actually, he played high school football here in the city where I am. So I got to watch him there, too. So he played against
this will kind of tie into Curtis's team as well as ours. So obviously give you something that you're familiar with too, Curtis, is like, now that we've given you guys Christian Kirk, okay, it's time for the emergence of what I got shit on so hard last year for saying that it was time for Parker Washington. It's time for Parker Washington.
Yeah.
Later in the season, watching the games, you can see it. He's beginning to move. He's getting there now. He's learned. He has learned what he needs to be a professional. He's becoming dependable, and I think Trevor is going to really have to depend on him because Kirk is gone. Because Ingram is gone. Those were his 2 safety nets.
I'll give you a quick answer on that you just popped up there. But anyone with a brain says nobody right now. Simply because he had one good time with the scheme. They were just scheming him open. But when he's left to have to work on his own and create space for himself, it does not happen.
Yeah. I don't even think a Pee Wee football team would pick him.
But to be fair, though, to talk about Christian Kirk, though, Parker Washington, let's make no mistake, Parker Washington is 110% the reason Christian Kirk is not here.
Yeah, I agree with that.
110%. Because if it was if it was only the injury part, he'd still be here because Trevor wants him here.
Mm-hmm.
They're very clear on the fact that, oh, God, no, dude, I like Cheetos. Yeah, no.
Oh, man, there's so many jokes I can go with that one, but okay.
Well, look,
hey, I'd trade you for some belly button lint to keep it.
I've got the draft order pulled up. So if the Jags, in theory, are looking to trade back, and in theory, if you're looking to trade back, you're trading up with a team who is trying to get a quarterback. Right. And to me, if that situation is going to fall that way, that means Cam went 1, Shadur went 2.
Shadur.
And that leaves Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe.
Before you go any further, I have to say something. NFL Network, that little host in between the games. All right, whatever that guy's name is, I forgot. He's the one being between the games and stuff. You can mince me with that bullshit with that Duval. Boy, he said that shit yesterday. I got so damn mad at him. See, y'all got me cussing because I'm like, no, you just did not do that. So you can mince me with that bullshit, guy. Okay, I'm good now. Go ahead.
So you're looking for your most likely teams to trade up for the Jags 5 need a quarterback, and there needs to be a need beyond. Okay, there's still the top 2 guys, or one of the top 2 guys available. I feel like the top 2 guys need to go off the board, and this creates an even larger vacuum of desperation. So the Raiders, which are at 6,
Well, they just paid Geno a lot of money, but they did leave the out. They did leave themselves a way out.
Yeah, and plus they brought in
mid-30s.
Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll loves Geno, so I doubt if they really gonna pick a quarterback that high this year.
No, they're gonna take a quarterback.
Think so?
It's somewhere in the draft. They're taking a quarterback. That's why they left the out.
Somewhere in the draft. But I'm saying I don't think they're gonna take one that high though.
Yeah,
because Pete Carroll loves Geno. You know what I'm saying? So
the Jets need a quarterback. They're at number 7. They just signed Justin Fields, and Fields has already said something about like, oh, it feels like I'm back at the Horseshoe in Ohio State because Garrett Wilson's with him. So he's feeling good about that. That would be an interesting one.
Here's one.
Table for 2 says the Saints.
I was thinking the Saints
quarterback. Obviously, Pittsburgh is the most likely option for a big time trade up.
Yes, Pittsburgh.
I could see Pittsburgh jumping ahead of the Saints, who are probably the one team that needs the quarterback the most outside of a couple.
Cleveland.
And the Steelers are at 21.
Right.
So to move up from 21 to 5, there's a heavy toll.
A very heavy toll. Yeah.
So it's a little unlikely in my estimation that's what happens, but I could see anywhere from 6 to 9 being interested in trading up, and then the Steelers trying to jump the Saints. But
I think it's all going to, like you said, depend on those first 2. Those first 2 are going to tell how the whole top 10 goes, because if, let's say, Shedeur falls, like people are predicting, let's say Shedeur falls, I still see the Saints trading up to get a chance at him. Where they land, who knows? But I think they'd rather have Jackson Dart. That's my personal opinion. But another thing that could happen, the Browns are going to take Abdul Carter, but I would not be surprised to see them trade their second rounder to get back into the late first or high second, which we're also at the top of the second. We are also at the top of the second. So this is what I was kind of referencing earlier with the whole Gladstone thing being a different guy. I could see him saying, to hell with a typical draft strategy and just taking Will Campbell. I could see him doing it, honestly. Like the way he attacked free agency showed that. Like he could have went out and got people like Jair once he was cut, but Jair's not cut yet. So, he could have made something happen there. But he could have got Mekhi Becton. He didn't. He could have got Javon Holland. He didn't. He could have got Cooper Kupp, which he's familiar with. He didn't. He's not just going and blowing mega money on shit. So that tells me he was serious when he said he wants to build quality talent through the draft. And you also say it's about protecting Trevor. What better way to protect Trevor than to build quality talent through the draft on a rookie deal? We're at no man's land anyway, so really, no matter what pick we take, he's going to catch some shit for it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's the other part. This is a new regime, new organ, part of the organization. So if it was the old one, we can say, yeah, this is what's going to happen, and this is who we're going to take. But with this new group, it's like you have a feeling for what they're going to do or they want to do, but then again, you're like, maybe not, because just the way they're moving right now, it just gives you it's not an easy feeling. It's just a tempered excitement about they're gonna make the right moves and they're gonna build the team the right way. Just from the experience from what they had working with Tampa and the Rams. That's the way I look at it. And from the press conferences they've given so far, yeah. So
one thing that's unique to this offseason, I've said it before on the show, and Curtis, like, again, I know you haven't been here to hear that, but it'd be interesting to get your take on that too, is like, this is a unique offseason for the Jaguars.
Very.
That in the sense of we've never approached a draft without needing one thing that was guaranteed we had to take it first round.
Right.
They touched all of our needs in free agency for the most part. They touched them enough that the flashing red light's not on anymore. Not saying they're green. We're not good to go there necessarily, but he has free reign in the draft to do whatever the hell he wants.
Yes.
Because he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He raised the floor in free agency, and now he plans to raise the ceiling in the draft. Now, when he said that, everybody was like, oh, that's just a fancy analogy. That's just him talking it up. No, he's done it to this point. So when you look at the draft, I think the only way that we can just flat out lose this draft is if we sit on our hands and we assume that the offensive line is good and we don't get a bona fide second target for Trevor.
Right.
Because Diami Brown, his stats over all of his seasons are trash. If you take all of his seasons, combine them together, he's still not over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Now, you give Gladstone his credit. He got him based off the way he turned his shit on in the playoffs. And he did. He did do that. But he only gave him the 1-year deal. And he made that clear. He told us, hey, brought him in on a 1-year deal. We think he's coming into his own. But if he's not, it's not like he cost us an arm and a leg.
Right. It is what it is.
I think the only way you lose this draft is if you walk into it and you just assume, oh, we fixed the offensive line. Oh, we fixed the secondary. No, we fixed the receiver problem. That's the only way you lose.
No, but we've been through that already. So with Tony Baselli sitting up there in the VB, I know he's not going to let that happen again because we done been there these last 5 years with that bull crap right there.
How do you see it from the outside, Curtis? Because that's, like I said, this is very unique to us. This is something that we don't get to experience very often, is just a completely open draft board.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you're spot on. You're one of the teams that can do basically anything, and it makes sense. It's not necessarily that you're any position that you would take is necessarily for a need, but it could address long-term needs for sure. Right. I don't hate the idea of y'all getting a Mason Graham as far as like shoring up the long term of the interior of the defensive line, but like I don't know. I mean, you guys have so many options right there at 5 because I think you're right about Shadur and Travis and Cam Ward and Abdul Carter all going before you, and like that, honestly, it just leaves such a great smokescreen for y'all to do whatever the hell you want to do. I think Gladstone has a prime opportunity to really get cooking in this draft. I know last year the Jags did a fair amount of trading back.
Yeah.
And I could see that again with the right pieces falling in the right order in the top 4. But I don't know. It's difficult. This draft seems very weird. There are some mock drafts that I've seen. You're seeing so weird. Like sometimes when I'm looking at mock drafts, there's 2 quarterbacks going in the first round. Sometimes there's 4.
Well, the reason that is the top quarterback in this draft is barely the 5th best quarterback in next year's QB class.
Yeah,
that's the thing, and I think a lot of teams are aware of that.
Yeah.
Like, say for instance, you go and sign someone like Russell Wilson because Arch Manning's coming next year.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you do that because he's coming next year. Hell, like Geno, the Raiders, there's a 1-year out. Arch Manning's coming next year. Yeah. I mean, there's just, and even the Colts, man. I could see the Colts taking like a Quinn Ewers. They brought him back now on his 2nd or 3rd visit.
Yeah.
Like, they're already making preparations to move on because AR is he's glass. I'm sorry. It is what it is. There is, at first it was just jokes and it was all fun until it became the only reality that existed.
It was never jokes. It was always factual.
No, it was facts that he was hard. It was that he was hard to keep on the field, but like it was just speculation that he would never overcome it. Right. Now it's just, that is what it is. He's not going to do it.
Yeah.
He's just not.
Let me ask you guys a couple questions real quick. We'll kind of pivot here in a second, but how are you guys feeling about, a lot of people's QB 3 or 4 in this draft? Jalen Milroe is one of 13 players to accept an invitation to the green room in Wisconsin.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, he's gonna be sitting for a minute.
Yeah,
No, I don't. I think he's just
sitting like
everyone
Brady,
else get picked. Yeah.
Mm,
wait
Yeah.
until the third round.
Yeah.
he's gonna be sitting for a minute. Yeah.
But I also feel, last year there wasn't really.
But don't be surprised now if you see Shador sitting there also. Okay, don't be surprised if you see that.
This draft class could either go the exact same way that it went when Kenny Pickett was taken, and he was the only quarterback taken in the first round, or it could go the way of last year's draft class, where Bo Nix somehow got taken at 12 or whatever. Nobody really had a first round grade on him. Michael Penix gets taken to a team that just paid a guy $100 million.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of
And
weirdness.
the times are changing.
And let's remember one little small detail that I don't still see why they even entertaining this, but you still have Aaron Rodgers just sitting out there playing with people.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
He
saying?
is.
So
But he'll be the same thing as Russell Wilson.
yeah,
He will not get another long-term contract. If he does, he's got dirt on somebody. He is not getting another long-term contract without some kind of leverage. But to the point that Curtis just made, like, times are changing, and that's why I say, like, I don't see it wild anymore that he takes a Will Campbell at 5 if he wants to. Like, if they really want to prioritize that, I mean, the kid he's a fucking lock.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if 5, given the presumed layout at 1 through 4, you just take the best player with the right set of skills that's going to fit what you're doing.
right.
And you do the rest there in the building. But you guys had said something about it before the show. T-Law on a pitch count because of his shoulder. How are we feeling about that?
Yeah. I'm not up in arms about it. I know exactly why they're doing it because, again, let's just talk about this, okay? He spent last year banged up. Don't care what anybody says. That last injury is not on him. That was a dirty hit. We don't need to do that again. Nobody needs to go through the whys and the hows, argue with a wall. It's just a bad hit, okay? And anybody that's taken that hit to the face is going down. And they knew that he needed surgery in the end. So he didn't necessarily miss all of the last games because of that injury. That was just a decision to shut it down for the year. What's the point?
Yeah,
Right.
what's the point?
There was nothing left. Yeah, there was nothing left to play for. However, the reason he's on a pitch count is because people are like, "Oh, it's his non-throwing shoulder. So what do you want him to do? You want him to stand here and throw like this with no motion?"
Thank you.
No motion. Okay, every quarterback extends. Every quarterback has the motion, and they snap with that shoulder. Just because he's not throwing with it does not mean you're not using it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then on top of that, one thing that they hammered home in this press conference was that they're working on him with his feet movement. They want to clean his feet up because they want him to be quicker to snap. That's a whole body thing. Just because they say the word feet, that is an entire body mechanic.
Yeah.
And that being said, yes, he's on a pitch count. Because, again, I don't know when the last time some of these people have thrown a football is, but if you go and you launch that thing, you're going to come over top with it. This is going to extend. It does not matter. He's using it. And he said that he felt fine. He did say that. I mean, he said he felt fine. He was very optimistic that he would be back in complete health before the season. Let's be clear. He will be back and 100% healthy for the season. He's just not going to say that because he's fucking media trained. I don't know when people are going to figure that out. Trevor is the ideal media trained quarterback. Like, he never says anything that gives you something to reach for.
Right.
He's very well versed in the media training. So, of course, he's not going to give you a definite hard date because they can't give him one, but they already know he's going to be back. Like, this is not something that's even a debate. They know he's back.
Right.
If they didn't think he was going to be back, he wouldn't be throwing now.
Yeah.
That's catch. He's actually throwing now.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's throwing now. And that's the thing. Like, if they thought for a second that he was not going to make it, he would still be on complete rest in hopes to make it.
Right.
So I just think that needed to be addressed to kind of calm some minds because there were people I've been seeing it all over Twitter or Instagram today. They've just been blowing it to proportion. Well, why is he on a pitch count? Why is he this? Why is he that? if you can call Trevor anything you want to, but soft is not one of them.
Yeah,
That guy has played through all kinds of shit. Like, don't go there. Like, you can't. This is just them. They're just telling you in the media trained language, he's doing really good. He's getting better. We're still watching him.
Right.
Yeah.
No. That's all.
All right. Well,
they're protecting their franchise quarterback. That's all they're doing. Duh.
Yeah.
But we know how some of them idiots feel too. So, all right. What's next, Curtis? Come on, Curtis. Let's get it, Curtis.
So we got Tony Baselli as the EVP.
Curtis got a cool
we're talking about the hunt earlier. The episode just came out.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about Tony Baselli in a power position now that that's dropped?
Now, Eric, did you get to watch that?
No.
Okay, so the Jaguars released the first episode of The Hunt for this year.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I watched the whole thing. It's an hour long.
Okay.
It gave us a real good insight into how this offseason process went. Like who did what and where did it come from? Tony Baselli being an EVP couldn't have been more of exactly what we said we wanted it to be when me, you, and Isaiah called that in the offseason of last year. Because I would encourage fans to go back, watch some of our first episodes. We've been saying it since then. Tony Baselli needs to have some kind of EVP style role. And it's funny that we said it then because we didn't even know it, unbeknownst to us, but revealed in this episode. They were in talks about it then. The only reason it didn't work out is just they just didn't get to it, is what he said. He said they kind of talked about it. It just never came to fruition during the season. And then this year they nailed it down and made it official. And then when he talks throughout the episode and he tells you the things they're looking for and the way he views what they want to do and how they want to do it, he's bringing back the mentality of, like I've said, like you got John Henderson come on, Joe, you got to hit me harder than that, Joe. Like that hard nosed shit, man. Like the shit that it takes to win a fucking game.
Yeah.
See,
you need that.
And I was going to comment on it, even though I hadn't seen it, but because it's Tony Baselli, I already knew. He's been around from the beginning of this franchise. Okay. So he's seen what it takes to build it from the ground up. You see what I'm saying? He's seen that. And he's seen the mistakes that have been made along the way. And he's been an announcer for the team, so he gets to go to games and watch other things progress and deteriorate. So yes, I'm good with Tony Baselli being where he is. I'm glad he is, because I think he will be the voice of reason and in a lot of cases. If there is any how can I say it, disagreements or whatever, he will be the voice of reason to say, look, no, we need to do it like this. Even when it comes to the draft, hey, man, he just, you know how you look at a player and everybody gives him the hype, and I think that's why Dion is doing his little circuit now on two from Colorado, because he know, they lacking a little bit, so you got to build them up. But it takes somebody like Tony Baselli that say, no, they're not it. Don't even waste that draft pick. That'll be a mistake. Let's go here and build from there. Yeah. And so I'm glad with. I'm happy with it.
I don't even think that's where he's going to have to step in.
No, I'm not saying that.
I think Gladstone,
but
Gladstone's an elite level talent evaluator.
True.
Like that's one thing that cannot be overstated. Urban Meyer, if he would have stopped partying, he probably could have turned out to be a good coach. Again, to be completely honest,
I was he was a hoe.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think when people talk about Urban Meyer, his ability to coach is not the question. It was his ability to focus and do his damn job.
Yeah.
Right. However, I think it did get shown in the episode that some back talk and some backstage talks of just who Gladstone is and what he was doing with the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about the things that he's done, let's just think about just the last draft they had. He brought in 2 Defensive Rookie of the Year candidates on the same damn team.
From the same university. Them Seminoles, baby.
Amen. Amen. He's responsible for people like Puka Nacua, Akers. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, the guy he's a talent He's a talent evaluator. He is, and that's what you need your GM to be. I think where Tony Baselli is going to really come into play is when you have a coach that says, I want to do it this way, I want to do it this way, and maybe a GM that sees a different direction. Make no mistake about it. The reason they created that position for Tony Baselli is to avoid a bulky Doug situation from ever happening again.
Right. Exactly.
That's why he's an EVP. He's an EVP because we had a head coach that wanted to do one thing and a GM that wanted to do another.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's where he's going to play the part. For now, they're all in sync. They're all three a perfectly working tandem team, and we'll see what product they can bring together. But if it ever came to differences in opinions on the direction of the team between head coaching staff and, the general manager, that's where you're going to see Tony Baselli come together, because he actually quoted himself to be, he said, I'm just here to be what I've always been. I'm the defender. I'm the offensive line for this team. I'm the front. You got to get through me to get to the team, essentially. You know what I mean?
And don't forget, God trusts him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which he should.
That's important. Also, Shard really trusts him. So, yeah.
I mean, he should.
Good.
Who's going to love this team more than its first ever draft pick?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Especially since he's in the Hall of Fame now, too. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. But, yeah. Okay. We ready.
Well, look, gentlemen, let's take a look at a 5-round mock draft real quick, and then we'll get this show wrapped up. This is Chad Reuters.
Reuters. Hey, Reuter man.
Get this crap out of the way. All right. So obviously, Cam Ward at 1 makes a lot of sense here.
Yes. Been saying it
Travis
since we
Hunter
get
to the Browns.
Ooh. Wow.
Shadur to the Giants.
Yeah. You know what? As crazy that sounds, I can see that. I really can.
I don't know. I kind of feel like we talked about earlier. I feel like they're buying out just to ride out another year to Arch Manning.
I don't know.
But Abdul Carter to the Patriots. If for whatever reason the Browns did take Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter will go to the Patriots.
Yeah. Mike Vrabel, he's all about the defense. So yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I can see that happening.
Let's see here. Mason Graham.
Of course. Everybody's giving us Mason Graham. I mean, I'll be all right with that, but that's not the
Let's talk about him real quick.
Let's
talk about that position for us real quick. We got 2 guys that we've not even let see the field enough to know what we got.
Right.
And Eric Armstead's going back to that position this year where he belongs.
Right.
Unarguably, Eric Armstead is a top-end DT. He should have never been trying to play edge.
Never.
So we got Armstead going back to the middle. And I do have faith in Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson. Those guys are fucking earth movers, dude.
Yes.
Worm!
I'm sorry.
Hey, Worm. And when they get the chance, they are game-wrecking savages, man.
Yeah. Now,
and
go ahead, Trevor. I'm sorry.
It's not that I don't like Mason Graham, and it's not that I don't even think Mason Graham could potentially by himself be better than any one of those guys individually. It's just I think we've got enough at the position that we wouldn't need to do this. I'm not going to say that I'm mad about it per se, but we don't need to do this.
Right.
I feel like if we were going to spin an unwarranted style, we don't absolutely have to type of pick. Like I've said, this will be the 5th time now. It's got to be Campbell for me, but that's if you don't go skill player, obviously. But everybody keeps saying Mason Graham, and
here's going to be a shocker. What if we take Genty at 5 instead?
Well, now I will say this: that is one thing, Eric, that you bring up, and Isaiah or Curtis mentioned this earlier, is somebody that nobody's putting on our radar. Cohen likes to run the damn ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cohen loves to run the ball. And there are a lot of concerns about ETN's future.
Well, what I've been saying. Take ETM, make him the third down back. Put him out in pass routes. That's where he excels at. Okay. I know they say, well, he's a good. No, put him out there. He catches the ball pretty good and he's quick enough. He put him in open space and let him do his work. Tank is the number one running back. If you ain't watched last season, you can watch and see. He's the number one running back now. I don't see how he cannot be. He's
I
a
think
tougher runner.
I
He's
think you got to see what happens with this new line first. I
well,
think Etienne is the more explosive, more
no,
opportunistic. No,
no.
he is explosive. We just can't run a non-bruising back up the middle with no line.
Hey,
That's
but
what happens because
but see,
Etienne top
but
five
see,
back
here's
for
the
a
thing.
reason
Here's
when
the
we
thing,
gave him.
Trevor. Tank was doing it last year, regardless of the line. Most of the
Tank
time.
was just running into our linemen's backs, and that's why everybody went down on injury reserve, and we kept pulling people off the damn practice squad.
Move their asses out the way. Do their job.
But what the sad part is we still didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher. So no matter what he was doing, it still wasn't enough. You know, I think he was more successful in the situation we gave. I agree with.
I still say Etienne would be a better third down back. At this time right now, he's be draft us, get Genty in there. No, don't get Genty. That'd be too much then. But anyway, but I still say make Travis the third down back.
Okay.
Now, then we just pick up another back somewhere. And don't forget, we still got Keelan Robinson. He was a running back at Texas.
Keelan Robinson's not going to. Keelan Robinson's probably not going to field nothing for us.
Well, who knows, man? Who knows that with this new regime now? New offense, like you say, new offensive line. Who knows what the hell will go on? But I know Tank is number one back right now. He has to be.
Yeah. All I'm saying is I've seen reports that upwards of 30 running backs could be selected in this year's draft. You're going to have time later in this draft to add a running back piece.
Right.
I don't think 5 is the move.
But it would be a hell of a one, though.
Yeah. And for what we know about the rest of the division, Mason Graham being selected here would be a phenomenal pick just in the fact of you're going to make the other teams in the division have a little bit more of a headache now. Because you've got Mason Graham, you've got Eric Armstead, you've got Hamilton, you've got those two young guys that you can throw in there. You know, I don't know how much longer Armstead's got left on his deal, or just generally speaking in the NFL. I know Devon Hamilton's coming up on his last year. It probably wouldn't be the worst idea to go ahead and just kind of rebuild the room slowly.
Yeah,
I can see that too.
I can see that. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart at number 7 to the Jets.
That would throw a wrench into a lot of people.
This is getting crazy already.
Tyler Warren at number 8 to the Panthers. I know Jeff and all the guys on the Colts pod are excited about that.
Yeah.
Jalen Walker, no relation to Trayvon. Going down to the Saints. My older brother is a big Bears fan. He wanted Membu because of how big he is, and he thinks he can be the actual pretty solid left tackle spot.
I think that's where Genty lands because they just did all that retooling of the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think it's hard pressed that they take a lineman at 10. You know what I mean, they just made some big trades, paid some people too. Like,
I agree.
Will Campbell to the Niners, Tet McMillan to the Cowboys.
That I can see happening 110%.
Yeah.
And honestly, that right there, I could see happening too. I could see them trying to get up there to get somebody because one thing about it, two things for sure. On his own, Kyler Murray is not going to murder your team, but if you give him a minute or give him a second to think, he is lethal. He's lethal. He just has no damn time. He's always running for his life.
Right.
Yeah. The Colts take another linebacker, Jahad Campbell, the number 1 linebacker prospect, who's just a pure off-ball linebacker. Yep. Will Johnson goes all the way down to number 15 to the Falcons.
I can see it. They're never wrong when they make a secondary pick.
Yeah.
They don't miss secondaries.
They miss everything else, but just not secondary. But go ahead.
Tyler Barron to the Dolphins. Let's keep scrolling.
That's
Shamar Stewart.
doable.
That's the highest I've seen him taken to the
well, and
Bengals.
honestly, that would make sense for them.
I'm about to say the same thing. I can see that happening because he
Because
doesn't have to
Sam
come in.
Hubbard retired.
Yeah, but he
and-
still doesn't have to come in and start right away because they
No,
still got.
he's gonna have to start. They have no fucking body. They have no choice. If he comes there, he is starting.
Have they re-signed Trey Henderson yet, or he's still out there floating?
No, they ain't re-signed him.
Okay.
I don't think they can afford it. I think they're just trying to fucking drag him along. He even said he doesn't have to be the highest paid player, and they still haven't fucking paid him.
You know what though? With that being the case, you can say there may be a draft day trade involving him that would probably shake up the draft order as well.
Yeah,
that's something I could see. This absolutely makes sense with the departure of DK.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Kamika Ibuka.
Yeah.
And they brought in Cooper Kupp.
Yep. That absolutely makes sense to me.
Michael Williams to the pack. Now, here's a curveball. Denver Broncos, Colston Loveland.
Yeah, because they just got Evan Ingram, too.
Yeah.
A lot of the drafts I've seen have Amarion Hampton out of North Carolina going here.
I've even seen Genty go to the Broncos in a couple of mocks.
Yeah.
Which that would make sense for them too.
Here we go.
Amarion Hampton, one thing, he's gonna be a dog. He's obviously living in a shadow.
But that makes sense.
Genty, but he is a monster.
That makes sense because what's his name just left to go. Well, he just left it. Yeah, so
not to me. I mean, if I'm Pittsburgh, I don't give a damn what they have. No quarterbacks. Like they don't have anybody.
Well,
like they let everybody go.
Yeah, they do.
With the first three going off the board already, you're not gonna trade, or you're not gonna take Jalen Milroe.
No, you can't.
No,
but I can't see them sitting there. That's really what I'm getting at. Like, there's no way.
Once again, goes back to my statement earlier. They'd be a great trade partner.
Well, one thing that makes a bigger thing that makes them a potential trade candidate, they're not doing well on extending TJ.
Yeah.
Those contracts, that talk is not going anywhere right now.
Yeah.
He could end up being a trade candidate really fast.
That's true.
Because also last year, he didn't really do shit.
He was injured a lot, wasn't he? In and out?
Yeah.
The way of the Watt.
Yeah.
They're either going to be there all year and terrorize every team in the league, or they're never going to be there and you're going to forget that they existed for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This makes sense. Emin makes sense, but because they just restructured Winfield. Pair him up with
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind us
going off.
And obviously the Chiefs go with a tackle. They fucking better. they better do something.
Right. Look, if they didn't learn, oh my goodness, I feel sorry for them because they got taught a lesson in the Super Bowl again. Because Tampa taught it to them before and they didn't pay attention.
Now I kind of think Houston's looking offensive line too with the departure of Tunsil. Because
Houston just signed Houston got a lot of money invested in offensive line right now, don't y'all?
Not comparatively to last year.
I was about to say, no, y'all actually got cheaper on the line now that Tunsil's gone. Like,
oh yeah,
I would think you have to look offensive line. Like, I mean, the biggest problem you had last year, other than injuries to your receiving core, was your line. Like, you couldn't keep CJ on his feet.
Yeah.
So,
this is the first I'm seeing of any other position other than offensive line or Ibuka falling here. I don't hate Derek Harmon. I don't hate Derek Harmon. I definitely think he would be a great long-term investment for the defensive tackle room because we have a few guys in there that are 30 or older, and we need to get younger in there for sure. But I would prefer to get younger and probably draft a little later for a defensive tackle. But at 25 here, you're looking at probably Gray Zabel, or you're looking at Thomas. It's not Thomas Booker. The kid out of Alabama, he plays guard. I know
who you're talking about.
Yeah, those two guys who I think would be likely here.
I think this just reminds me even more of what we talked about beginning of last year, Curtis, is how the Texans remind me a lot of the Jaguars after we made that playoff push. Made that really big playoff push, and then everything just went to shit. And then you walk into the draft, and you have needs all over the place now.
Yeah.
Like you felt like you were on the rise. Felt like you just needed one or two more pieces, and now it just feels like you need everything all over again.
Yeah.
Because Tank Dell's gone for fucking ever and a day.
Yep.
Now you just got Nico Collins because no way you're going to pay Stephon to do that shit again. Your offensive line needs just about every position.
Yeah.
You got some secondary help finally, but I don't think it's enough. If I'm not mistaken, you still need safety help.
No, we got CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Oh, you did get Gardner-Johnson. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we still have Petrie, Bullock, Jimmy Ward, and CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Then,
I mean,
so
if you look at if you look at the defense, secondary is the strongest thing on their defense right now.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Agreed.
It goes secondary, edge rush, defensive interior, and then linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Lees is about all
like,
you got standing now, ain't it?
I'm looking at another one. Who's on this? Well, they got y'all Maurice Jones-Drew. And let's see who they got y'all picking here. Who he has y'all picking? Josh Simmons.
Yeah, tackle out of Ohio State.
Yeah, that's who we see that.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, I feel like this mock kind of just seems like a let me show you something that everyone else hasn't said.
Yeah,
it's like honestly, if the Texans take anything other than offensive line, they're doing their team a disservice.
I agree. I think there's a lot of guys in this draft that you could probably take outside of the first round. Like, there's a couple guys out of Georgia. There's a couple guys out of Michigan, I think, that are pretty solid. But, yeah, continuing on here with the first round, Matthew Golden going to the Bills. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this guy's last name. Going to the Lions. Mike Green.
Salavania.
God bless you.
Oh my God! If they get Malachi Starks, that would be disgusting.
Ezra Thomas to the Vikings, and then Isaiah Bond.
Now that hurts my soul. Azaria Thomas, dude, I love it for him that he moved back into the first round predictions, but I fucking hate it for us because I wanted him in the second, dude. I wanted him in the second or the third so bad.
MJD has him going to the Commanders at 29. Yeah.
It's possible.
Wow. So here we are, top of the second. The Browns go Connerly. Tyler Booker goes to the Giants. Quinn Ewers to the Sea Chickens. Projected trade with the Titans yields the Jaguars Maxwell Hairston.
I can go with
it. I could take that.
I can go with that. Yeah. That's not a bad pick. If it was to happen.
I like Luther Burden.
Yeah.
Josh Simmons to the Patriots.
Now, one thing I would like to bring up to you guys. Obviously, we just saw Quinn Ewers go. I think that's a possibility for the Browns to do something like that too. Like, or even the Steelers. Like, they have nobody. No one.
Yeah.
Well,
and the Browns ain't got no damn body either.
I was say who the Browns got. At least the Steelers did bring back somebody who knows the system. He ain't much. I mean,
and him picking Quinshawn right there, Quinshawn Judkins with the Bears pick right there, that makes a lot more sense to what he did earlier with their picks, and that would be a fucking masterclass for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gray Zabel.
He can hang out behind Swift.
Gray Zabel is such a stud too, man.
Yeah. Alfred Collins to the Jets, continuing the just constant state of phenomenal defensive tackles in the Jets.
That'd be nice with the Jets because he's a beast. That guy's a beast.
Trey Amos to the 49ers, Trayvon Henderson to the Cowgirls, Jordan Birch to the Colts. Here's that center I was in from Georgia, Jared Wilson to the Falcons.
Okay,
that makes sense. Drew Dalvin left.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. Cardinals take a tackle in the first round. Second round, they go Iowa State, Jalen Noel. Pretty solid.
That's actually, that would be beautiful.
Yeah. Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State to the Bengals, stays in state. That's solid.
That's great.
Another Ohio State player goes to the Titans at edge rusher. That's solid.
Yep.
Mm.
That round
Oh,
actually
dude.
so far has been
Jaden. Yeah, this is a crazy first or second round. Jaden
Yeah.
Blue to the Broncos. That's
Oh,
a
damn.
phenomenal
Amen.
pickup.
Yeah,
That's, dude, this
Yes.
guy is a late round drafter for sure. Oh
Yes.
my god.
Pierce to the Bucks.
Wow. Dude, that would be
Mason-
beautiful for them.
Mason Taylor to the Chargers.
That's pretty.
Charles Grant out of William and Mary to the Texans.
Okay.
That's a head scratch.
Yeah, I was about to say
That's I don't know.
Josh Farmer to the Bills. Damn.
Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm.
just completely rebuilding on that one. Let's go round 3 here. Tyler Show.
No
to
fucking
the
way.
Browns.
No
You know
way.
what?
Wait till round 3 and just took.
Yeah, I actually can see that happening.
Over Milrow though? No
yes,
fucking way.
yes.
If you're gonna
The only-
pick one in the third
only-
round, at least Milrow has a cannon.
No, the only thing about him is he's old as hell. He stayed in college forever, but he is a better quarterback than Jalen Milrows. Believe it or not, he's a pocket quarterback. He is.
Yeah.
He
Caleb
doesn't do
Johnson.
turnovers as Milrows. See, that's the knock on Milrows is he turns the ball over a lot. And when he's good. Who? Wide receiver.
Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State. Now, the one thing that Iowa State has going for it is that it runs a pro style offense.
Right.
So these guys are doing the NFL cuts. They're doing the NFL route trees.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be bad.
That's some real homework there to make that pick.
Yeah. Jack Sawyer, edge rusher. I mean, I've seen him go a lot higher.
Me too.
Seth McLaughlin, that's a solid pick, even though I think they have Cooper Beebe who would.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think they make it, but he's a great pick.
Yeah. Jeffrey Bassa is the Texans selection here in the third round, linebacker.
That's not a bad pick there. That's not.
No.
He's a solid linebacker. This is a good pick. Third pick, yeah. Third round. Oh, I'm going to see that.
Trevor Etienne, third round to the Chargers.
I really
think
that's too high.
This kills me right here. This
Terrence Ferguson.
We are 3 fucking tight ends deep right now, man.
I don't see that happening. I don't see that.
I mean, come on, brother. How many do we fucking need?
Oh, I don't see that one happening.
Come on, man. That's where you take another bullshit lineman just to hope you hit on one. Like, come on. What the
Davion Williams finally addressing that wide receiver need. Now, this was the guy that I have my late round hopes on is Deontay Thornton Jr. I don't know how much you guys know about him. He is 6'5", 212 pounds, I think. Ran a 4.3 flat.
Damn.
And led the SEC in yards per catch last season.
Yeah, he's a fucking dog.
Yeah. So I have him as like somebody I would love to get in the late third, but whatever. Maybe even the fourth, depending on how it all works.
How it all works out, right?
Peebles. I mean, the Rams are just rebuilding their defense. Peebles is a god.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Special compensatory.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. All right. I can see that. That'd be a hell of a compensatory pick right there.
Yeah. Compensatory.
Yeah, that word.
Go round 4.
Oh, wow.
Jacob Parrish.
Oh, wow.
Tyler Barron, edge rusher out of the Miami. The U.
You know, one person that I think we're going to end up looking at in later rounds is RJ Harvey.
Yeah.
One thing I hate about what he just did right here, though, is I like the Barron, the depth, but if you're going to address the depth, I don't know, 4 or 5. I wouldn't wait it that long.
Yeah.
But it's still a good pick. He's still good.
Yeah.
Deion Walker to the Ravens. Will
Now,
Howard
I
to
could
the
see
Saints.
that. That I could see.
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
Dylan Sampson to the 49ers. Now that's a good move.
Hell yeah, it is. Especially with what they got going on.
Yep. Dylan Gabriel to the Dolphins.
That's
Okay.
Here's another interior offensive lineman I was looking at. Dylan Fairchild out of Georgia.
Yeah, like the Colts fucking need him.
Well, they do. I mean, they let go Ryan Kelly and Will
No,
Fries.
I know they need him. I'm saying just like fuck them. Like we don't.
Right.
They don't.
Oh, yeah.
We need people like him.
Look,
Yeah.
I understood.
Yeah.
But I understood.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Now that right
Scatterbo.
there, that Titans pick there, that's ooh.
Oh no, man,
No,
no.
like Scatterbo. Don't make no mistake about it. Scatterbo is a fucking animal.
No. I'm not saying
But, like,
that's he's not a good player, but not to the Titans. No,
yeah, we don't.
Hell
I don't
no.
want to deal with another bruiser in Tennessee, bro.
we got enough
No.
already to deal with.
All right.
Now, see, this
Jacksonville.
is where he's starting to make sense there,
Right.
but it's like it's a little late for me. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
I understand the fact. I'm grateful you're still addressing it at some point, but like,
but you have to understand, you just brought a lot of men, through free agency too. So
not enough.
yeah, that's why he picking right there. For the depth.
Omar Norman Lott is another defensive interior guy I have my eye on. He's not tall as hell. I think he's 6'1", but he's like 340.
Oh yeah, so he's just
a
gonna move
big ass
everything.
space eater.
Yeah.
All right, and then the final round of this mock draft. Here we go.
Dun, 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 dun.
Chad Reuters says Tyler Batty. Okay.
Yeah. I can see him.
Billy Bowman Jr.,
No way.
safety out of Oklahoma.
No way.
Mm.
No way.
Luke Lockley.
With him, so can't say.
It's not even just about him. I can just look at his position and tell you no.
Yeah.
No.
Wait a minute. Stop. Why? Who we got at safety?
Well, right now we've got to figure out what the hell we want to do with safety.
Exactly.
But it's not going to be a fucking 5th round pick at safety.
Yeah.
If it is, that's just one of those fucking left field curveballs because that just seems like it was this round just kind of seems like it's a best player available deal.
Exactly.
But
what you're looking for, right?
Well, for me, because we're in a position to where we can just kind of go carte blanche on what we want, we don't have to necessarily always go best player available. We can also go, we could use some depth here. We could use some depth here. Like this year at safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we still got Antonio's. Whatever.
Yeah.
We still got Darnell. We still got Darnell Savage playing out there.
Right.
And we're giving Dewey the chance to start.
Dewey, right? But
like
after them, who?
It depends. I don't know who they want to move up because they had some other people too. It really just depends. Like because at that point, it's not like we're counting on them to be usable pieces that much. So
right.
And we're in the 5th round. I mean, there's
right.
He's more than likely not going to be a usable piece either. Like.
Well, sometimes that's where you get your best steals at.
Now, Taj Brooks, that wouldn't be bad.
No.
I mean, I like it.
Yeah. I also like this Kane Medrano pick out of UCLA. I think he's really athletic. He's not necessarily out the gate a 3-down linebacker, but I think he's got the potential to get up to that point.
Right.
Let's see.
I can see Jackson Slater there too. That makes sense.
Yeah. More compensatory selections. And that's the end of the round 5 mock draft.
The girls pick, they're going to screw it up, so don't even worry about them. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, from everything I just saw from that, like, I don't know. I feel like if we're going into this draft, I don't feel like we should take a tight end. So I disagree with that one. And if we are going to take a safety, I think it needs to be 3rd or 4th round. If we're going to try to get somebody.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's hard because, again, I also would like to see us personally. I'd like to see us trade back in the first round, take a lineman, an offensive lineman. Second round, try to address receiver or corner, depending on where Azaria Thomas went. If Azaria Thomas is available, you take Azaria Thomas. I don't care. Like that's what you do.
Well,
if he's not available, there's options.
Yeah.
Well, look, gentlemen, I think we've pretty well covered basically everything we wanted to talk about this evening. Been going on for almost an hour and 20, so it's almost like normal, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
So I think this is a good spot to go ahead and put a fork in this one, call it done. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for having me on to host and talk Third and Teal and all things Jaguars. I want to let you both know that while at Isaiah's wedding, when he walked in for the reception, I did let out a good Duval. There were people around me who were like, "Was that you?" And I was like, "It was me. That was here."
Thank
you. You're welcome.
Amen.
I basically just kind of channeled you guys and then just put it out into there. By the way, I believe it's his mom. If you've never seen his mom, Smoke Show. Anyway,
how old is she?
Not Mr. Smooth, man. I'm telling you, this man's really like that. I watched it happen.
I literally walked up to the wedding and I was like, "Who the hell is that?" And then I saw Isaiah walk up and I was like, "Oh shit, is that his mom?"
He's like, "No way,
no way,
no way." It's crazy, crazy.
Well, it is what it is.
All right. So, gentlemen, again, thank you for having me on. Thank you guys for coming on, taking time out of your evening to talk about your favorite team. Folks in the comments section, including Trevor's future misses, thank you for participating. And
we're all going to be at that one. God dang it.
Damn right. And we'll
long as it's in the country. I ain't leaving the country.
Hey, look, man. Hey, I'm not going nowhere, brother. I can tell you that.
Y'all hit the like button. We're trying to grow the channel here. We're at 291. Like to see that the more likes we get, the more people get put in front of it, the more opportunity we have for more people to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so they don't miss future Third and Teal content. So please, God, hit the buttons, share it with your homies. Most of all, be good people. And it was never the Titans or the Colts.
It's never been them.
Fuck the Titans. Duval!
Duval!
All right, we out.